Hi, Akira here. The Warrior Cats art show has reached its 10th round. The subject of this video is underrated Warrior Cats characters. Each of the 5 remaining contestants drew a cat who doesn't quite get as much attention as the fan favorites, and told us a little about why they like them. We will find out who made the top 5 as we continue. First up is Minty, their choice being Redtail. Originally the cat who dies at the very beginning of the first book, who everyone knows only for the mystery surrounding it, Redtail was never given much proper focus until he received his very own novella. And his novella is most certainly underrated, as it gives so much more context to the slippery slope that led Tigerclaw down his villain arc. Minty really liked how Redtail's character shines through how he originally looked up to Tigerclaw, but eventually grew to hate the cat as he developed a sense of morality. I think it's a pretty easy story to relate to, as it's all about peer pressure. Most people growing up will have that one or a few friends who just make unsavory decisions and lies. And part of growing into yourself is realizing when someone is harmful to you, and when you have to take steps in another direction. And Redtail is such an inspirational cat, as he takes the deputy position before Tigerclaw thanks to his morals, and he sacrifices everything for his morals. Minty's art shows the young Redtail yearning to serve the brave Tigerclaw who saved his life in the front, with the future in the shadows behind. Tigerclaw ready to trample Redtail once that support had vanished. A very dramatic shift. Next up, we have Jasper choosing Goldenflower. Her reasoning for this is that Goldenflower is related to a lot of cats with rather dramatic storylines, while her emotional journey is just barely touched on. Swiftpaw was her son, but that relationship was never really touched on, as the first arc hardly acknowledged the mothers for those first few apprentices. And her being the mother of Tawnypelt and Brambleclaw, while put into more focus, didn't carry much further story once they were named apprentices. She was clearly betrayed by Tigerstar, but unlike Redtail where we got to see how he was manipulated, we don't really know how she felt when she loved him, or after she lost him, or how she felt when Tawnypelt chose to be in ShadowClan with Tigerstar over ThunderClan with her. Just so much happens around her that isn't explored because she never had her own book. The original ThunderClan queens, Frostfur, Brindleface, Speckletail, Goldenflower, they are all just robbed of having standout character arcs, and Goldenflower is no different, being retired to the Elder's Den to ultimately just disappear between arcs without a send-off. The art shows Goldenflower's various family members that either died or left to join ShadowClan before she even reached retirement age. Pretty composition, as we can expect from Jasper. Sleepworse's choice is a cat we learned about in the Grey Stripes Vow Super Edition, Gremlin. Everyone still talks about Monkey Star, but the fandom really stopped talking about Gremlin once we got past the book's release. But she most certainly had a great story. It shows a different side to BloodClan, how some cats found themselves in the group out of necessity, and only realize how horrible it is later. Her needing to protect her kits, working her way out of BloodClan, is a cause that's easy to root for. And her brother Scraps having to sacrifice himself to save her just adds on even more drama. And Grey Stripes Vow has a very unique method of storytelling with the past and the present, so we not only see Gremlin's story to save her kits, but we see the effects of those events through Fang showing up in the future with a similar protective instinct. Sleepworse's art has a lot of scenes from Gremlin's life, from the terror of BloodClan, to her meeting Greystripe and Cinderpelt, to her settling down as a kitty pet, and her spirit form front and center. Lots of details if you want to look for them. Moving on to SpoopyWingedSpawner's choice, we have another Super Edition cat, being Stormcloud from Bramblestar Storm. He hangs out mostly in the background in books that came later, making him the underrated cat he is. Spoopy explains that while he is a minor character, the scenes where he does play a role really portray him as such a sweet cat. In the art, and in Spoopy's description, 3 different moments are shown in particular. The first being the heartfelt speech to his lost brother Benny. It's so interesting seeing him essentially start a new life in that book. Below that, we have him talking with Alderheart in Shattered Sky, doubting he deserves help when other warriors have worse wounds. Finally, on the right side of the art, we have his small role in Squirrelfight's Hope. When Sparkpull is grieving, he is said to be taking time every day to persuade her to eat or cheer up. and he plays with Finch Kit and Flame Kit. Spread across multiple of the smaller moments, he is just a deeply empathetic cat, almost to a fault. There are just so many warriors in current ThunderClan that it's easy to forget about Stormcloud, but Stormcloud never forgets about caring for his clanmates. That leaves Rayan and Aara. The final contestant making the top 4 is Rayan. More on Aara at the end of the video. Finally, we have Rayan's submission covering the A Vision of Shadows character Tree. While not a background cat, there is still plenty of room to say he deserves more love than he gets. Rayan's reasoning for picking Tree is the simple fact that Weird Cats has never done a character close to being like him. He's carefree, a bit lazy and weird, but very charismatic and intelligent, and just funny and enjoyable to have around. And he doesn't just spawn out of nowhere as it originally seemed, because we eventually learn of his past with the sisters, and how their culture put him out on his own. But he eventually finds his place in the clans, and creates a life for his own kits that keeps them from suffering the way he did. His quote being, "Root Kit and Needle Kit will have a father and mother for as long as they need them, and if they're in trouble, they'll always have a clan to turn to." Rayan headcanons him as non-binary, because he challenges the normal and creates his own path. The art depicts Tree on a tree stump, with the ghost cats that he can communicate with due to his powers behind him. Very cool piece. That concludes all the cats for our discussion. Vote with the Google form in the description for whichever submissions you like, for whichever reasons you do. Out of the top 5, 4 will advance to the next round. Click yes on who you want to see in the top 4, and no on who you think should be eliminated. Voting will be open for 72 hours or 3 days. The results will be revealed in round 11 of the art show. Yeah, round 11. It's been more than a year since we started, and the ending is right around the corner. Before I say goodbye, let's give a round of applause to our 6th place contestant, Aara, who has earned the title of Hollyleaf's #1 fan with all this Hollyleaf love. But for real, it's been an absolute pleasure having you for this series. Your backgrounds always look like they have so much time put into them, and your cats are so consistently styled. Grandma Cat was adorable, your book cover was so grand, the cats from your comics so detailed, and in the most stressful round, the speed draw, you got first place with 91% of the vote. Absolutely crazy stuff. Oh, and if you're curious who won the other 9 rounds, well, you'll have to stay tuned for another 2 rounds for the art show finale. Alright, bye everyone!